Dharma brother and sister. So please, we will talk more about the 10 virtues mental factor. So before I start the 10 virtues mental factors, I will talk a little bit about the motivation and the principle of all actions. Because in the Dharmapada, Buddha Shakyamuni said, the mind is the chief of all action. Mind is the chief or principle of all action. And all action always follow with the mind. Likewise, the shadow always follow with the, your shadow body always follow with you. So wherever there is a body, there is a shadow. The shadow and the body is look like inseparable. Same as all actions, the positive action, negative action, the neutral action, wholesome, unwholesome, all actions always have to follow with the motivations, with the mind. So, as a Buddhist, we always talk about virtues and non-virtues. The virtues or non-virtues just only depends on the motivation, not much about action. Motivation rather than action. So, anytime when we do very short time practice or short time puja or short time recitation, the first everybody need very clear, very pure motivation. Pure motivation. When you have a very pure motivation, the second, the actual action, the action always be very pure, very positive, and very virtuous. And if the motivation is pure, the action is very nice and very pure, and the result, the fruit is always nice, always healthy, always beautiful, always good. And the opposite, if you have an impure motivation, the second, the action also impure action. If the action is impure action, the result, the fruit also impure. That's why we face suffering. And also when we think about the suffering, so everybody know we have a physical suffering, we have a mental suffering. If you know how to control your minds, if you know how to notice the reality of all the phenomena, even though you are facing the physical problem, but you never feel, I have a really great suffering of physical suffering. So, if you compare with physical suffering and mental suffering, when you look at that just in the roughly, you can see the physical suffering is more difficult than the mental suffering. If you think your own experience, most of you can think, the mental suffering is more difficult than the physical suffering. So, in order to reduce the physical suffering, we must need to know how to reduce the mental suffering, the emotional suffering. Once you know how to reduce, how to minimize the mental suffering, even though you are facing the physical suffering, but for you it's okay. You can able to face, you can able to bear. That's why, at the Buddha one of the Buddha lifetime, so Buddha was meditating in the forest. So he was meditating in the forest for a long time. One of the prince princess, saw him in the forest doing meditation. And the princess was so admired to him, and the princess just leaped around him. The king was very worried because they didn't find the princess. So finally they noticed the princess was, the practitioner with him in the forest. The king was get very upset, very angry. Then he asked who you are. And the practitioner, which is in the same kind of life of the same generation, right? Previous life of the Buddha. So he answered, I am practitioner of patience. And the king cut his one hand, still asked who you are. He said, yes, I am a practitioner of patience. But finally he cut all legs and hands, still asked who you are.
Passion or compassion?
Passion.
Only passion.
Yeah, passion.
Patient.
That means not really get,
Oh, patient.
not get angry.
Patient.
Yeah, patient. So I am the practitioner of passion. So then finally the king noticed he was really high practitioner of passion. So look at that moment, he was practicing passion. So that's why he able to bear all the physical suffering. So also, the mind is so powerful, and also I think very powerful. If you really make a decision, depth of your heart, okay, I will do it, then you can do it. So that's why, if you not really make a decision from your heart, depth of your heart, even though you could say, I will do it, but you can't. You can do a little bit, you cannot do fully. So the mind is very powerful, and also mind is chief or principle of all actions. So as a practitioner, as a Buddhist practitioner, as a follower of the Buddha, you always look in your minds. So what kind of mind is right now I have? What kind of motivation I have? You always check your minds, you always check your motivation. If you notice at this moment, I have a kind of very little negative motivation, or very little negative motivation, very slightly with the negative emotion, there is negative motivation, just shape the motivation in a better way. So, as a Buddhist, we don't have, nothing more than less practice rather than just watch your minds. Always, it look like, you are look like the guide of a diamond. You are the protector of a diamond. If somebody, you must protect the diamond, then you always have to be very careful. You always have to look at the diamond, make sure nobody is going to steal the diamond. So you always look inside, make sure, that the positive minds, the peaceful mind, the virtuous mind, not other minds going to be destroyed. Just always watch your minds. Then, even though you don't have to think, I need a happy life, I need a peaceful life. The peaceful life, happy life, follow after your action and your motivation. So the last, I think, last time we talked about 10 mental factors, right? The first one, 5 universal mental factors.
Yeah.
The second one, what the second are? Object, 5 object determining mental factors. as I mentioned, the universal mean, all minds must have, those 5 mental factors. I hope you understand. I hope you remember the contact, the feeling, perception, then volition and attention. The contact, there's a two type, when you look at the object, then we say the consciousness contact to the object. When you contact to the object, then suddenly, maybe there's two different orders. When you contact to the object, then you can make a kind of decision. This is nice, this is not nice, this is okay. Based on the decision, then you can have a feeling. Contact, perception, and feeling. When you have a feeling, then you have an intention. Because you want it. You are looking, this is really nice, this is really bad. Then finally you have attention. The second, when you look at, according to the Theravada, they put the 10 together, Mahabhumi. 10 Mahabhumika. So also, yes, according to Mahayana tradition, there's two different views. Some text says the 10 mental factors, all minds must have a 10 mental factors. Another view said, no, all minds must have the 5 universal mental factors, not the object. Yeah, this way. According to Theravada tradition, they put the 10 mental factors together. They call 10 Mahabhumika. In all minds must have the 10 mental factors. So among the 10, the first one, right, intention. In Tibetan we call Dhimba. Dhimba means, when somebody show you a very beautiful object, then you just look like, oh, I want it. If somebody explains you, oh, in the Singapore, part of the Singapore is so beautiful, so nice, so quiet, then you really want to go. And you got some kind of interest. It's kind of, you want it. Secondly, if you keep thinking about, oh, I want to go that place, I want the object, then you always look like holding the object in your mind. It's kind of intention. Interest, then interest is kind of the decision. It's not really decision, it's kind of, you always want and always want. If you keep, thinking, I want this object, I want this object, I want to go this place, then you always remember. You always mindful of the object, you always mindful toward the place. Then wisdom. So in order to go to the place, in order to have the particular object, then you need a kind of wisdom. You have to be kind of little bit intelligent, wisdom. The concentration, so there's maybe 2 types of concentration. One concentration, arises based on wisdom. Based on wisdom. Another concentration is not really, based on wisdom. It's based on, follow what person says. Concentration. So last time we have some question answer. I said, what's the difference between, interest and faith? So how many possibility between interest and faith? interest and faith.
Interest.
Yeah. Interest and faith.
Can you give example of the interest? and
Belief.
Interest means, for example, say you say, oh, I'm very interested in practicing Dharma. This is also interest,
Right.
right? So also say, oh yes, I'm very interested into achieving Buddhahood. It's also interest. But are they faith or no?
Isn't there more trust in faith?
Yeah, interest.
Trust.
Oh.
With faith, isn't there more
Trust.
in it?
Mhm.
Trust.
Okay, yeah. So, and she said, faith is kind of trust, believe in, right? Trust and believe in. And interest not really have to be trust, right? Don't have to be, but you have to believe in. If you really interest someone, then you have to believe in. If I do this, I can get this one. So you need to think the differences between, interest in and faith. Because why I ask this question, in like a faith, there are 3 different types of faith. 3 different types of faith. So the next, among the 11 virtues mental factors, the first one is faith.
What are the 3 faiths?
Hmm?
What are the 3 types of faith?
Okay, so we will come later, don't be worried. Yeah, because first, okay, everybody just give your own view. You say, yeah, I have a faith to Buddha, I have a faith towards Dharma and Sangha. So first one of you, can you give me your own view about that faith? Or do you mean faith? Based on your, understanding.
Some faith is based on facts. Some faith is based on fact. It built on past experience and facts. So because I have faith that the chair can support my weight, so I will sit on it because I've seen it, I've tried it. But before I have that kind of faith, I also seen others see it. So there's 2 types: direct experience and perception kind of faith. So under facts and faith with facts, there's 2. One is
No. What does mean the faith?
I don't know. Sorry.
Because you're going with faith, there's 2 types. Generally, we have to know the definition kind of faith. Faith or belief is same or not?
No, faith and belief is not the same.
Mhm.
So belief is just a choice. Faith, belief is just. Sorry, it's confusing. I have to explain what is this and that. So sorry. Can you ask other people?
Okay. What do you think? So based on your understanding, what does mean faith? What does it look like?
I think faith consists of belief and hope.
Belief and hope.
Yeah. So when I have faith, I have the belief that this thing that I have in will help me, give me hope to believe and hope to have faith that this thing will work.
Mhm.
So I think.
So based on your understanding, your experience, then faith means like a hope and believe in. After belief, then you can have a kind of hope.
Something like that.
Okay. So
For example, let's say in my line of work, if you do a job, you get the money.
mm,
So I believe when I do this job, definitely I'll get the money. So there's no faith involved.
mm,
But if you want to get more than that, you have to have faith in what you do is more than required. Then faith is needed to get the amount of money.
mm.
You get what I mean?
Okay. So
So there's no solid confirmation that I'm going to get that amount of money. So I must have faith in my ability. Then my boss will give me that money.
faith in a kind of you like kind of belief, or
No, no.
trust.
Belief is, I know I do this, I'll get that.
That means this is just belief.
I believe it will be there.
Mhm.
But faith is something that it is more than belief. You have to put more into it.
Yeah.
Not
Okay.
necessarily you attain that,
Mhm.
but if you have faith, you may attain that.
Okay, so your explanation?
Similar stuff, yes. If you have a belief, you can have lots of different, you can have a belief in lots of things. But if you have a faith, that would be the one that you would go towards more, perhaps. That you would have more trust in one. You can have lots of beliefs,
Okay.
but perhaps when you have faith in what is to you seems the best.
Okay. Okay, and then person you are studying?
Definition of faith to me.
What? Yeah.
Definition of faith
Yeah.
to me is a very strong feeling. The feeling of trust and the feeling of confidence.
Confidence.
Trust in something that it will be good, okay, as a result of my trust in it. And the confidence is it will be turn out with the good result.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Trust and confidence.
Confidence.
Trust someone. So next, seven.
Trust.
Or trust. Okay, so we have a living and
Faith is something much more stronger than just belief.
just belief.
Yeah, and it's something that you already know beforehand. That's why you have faith in that.
Okay, this means trust and faith is stronger than I just believe. So you.
Very similar to my kid is having trust and confidence, either something or someone.
Okay, the last two one.
Krishna, I think faith is like what you say, something stronger than belief, something to do with God or something of the higher realm. Yeah.
Okay, you.
A strong trust is a strong belief that I believe that I want to go to Amitabha Samudra Pure Land, so I have faith in Amitabha. I practice, so I practice and show my faith that Amitabha will bring me to the Pure Land.
Pure land. So finally,
I think faith is more like an aspiration. Like
aspiration.
what the lady says, like you want to go to a Pure Land, and then you have this aspiration, you aspire, and you are convinced. It's a conviction that you'll be able to attain, like what Peter says, your goal.
I think everybody have almost same view. So Sonam asking what are the, I said there are three different types of faith. One is which is faith is aspiration, aspire. For example, when you hear the history of Buddha, when you hear the activities of Buddha Shakyamuni, you really want to be like him. It's kind of aspiration, aspire you to be like him. Second, so when we say three jewels, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, so we say, one Buddha which is, already exists here and in the past he was exists, we pray to him or we believe him, we trust him. But there's another Buddha which is we going to attain. Your future Buddha. Your future Buddha. I mean, right now we are sentient being. If you put enough effort in the future, one day you will become a Buddha. And when you say I take refuge to Buddha, there's two different ways you can take refuge to Buddha. One, I want to take refuge to Buddha Shakyamuni as my the diet. Second, I take refuge to my own future Buddha. That means when you will become the particular Buddha. That means this kind we call how do you call it in English? It's kind of sense of wanting. sense of wanting, sense of achieve. Because I cannot achieve the Buddha, second morning Buddha, right? So when I say I want to achieve Buddhahood means I want to achieve my own Buddhahood. I want to be Buddha one day. Also, this is also one of the fact. And another belief we mentioned is the belief, trust, and confidence. For example, when you hear about the samsara, the nature of the samsara, for you hear a little bit, then you do lot of analysis, lot of study. Finally, for you, we can be sure that samsara, the nature of samsara is kind of suffering. That's why you really believe, the nature of samsara is suffering. We call this, the belief faith, aspiration faith, and achieving faith. Can we call achieving faith? So that's why there are three different types of faith. For example, right now, if Amitabha Buddha appear upon us, what kind of faith will we have?
No need faith
Huh?
anymore. Just believe.
Believe. Yeah, somebody can just believe, oh, he will save us from samsara. Somebody just admire to him. So there's that different people has a different faith.
Because I thought when you have faith, you're not sure something is going to happen, but you just entrust.
Trust.
But you believe, you don't need faith anymore. It's going to happen. That's what you believe.
Okay, yeah, that's why I think, and also, so when we talk about Lamrim, we will talk more about how to become, what is the differences between. Also, not only that. Okay, before I move there, also look at, as a Buddhist, we have our unique faith. As a Christian, they have their unique faith. As a Hindu, Muslim, look at the people who believe in religion, everybody has their own faith. So as a Buddhist, if somebody mentions, do you have a faith towards like a Shiva, Ganesh, or Jesus Christ, or God and Allah? So what the answer will be from you? Do you have a faith to God? Do you have a faith towards like Allah? Right? So it's a big, really big question about the faith. And secondly, so in the ancient time, there are so many few different views how you to become a Buddhist. And Adisha Dibamkara, Shirigyan, he wrote the Lamrim text first time. He differentiated between Buddhist and non-Buddhist, based on belief in Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Also, not only this, he said, okay, Buddhist and non-Buddhist, we can differentiate based on belief, real belief in law and causality, special inner law and causality. So as a Buddhist, if you feel, of course everybody think I'm a Buddhist, it's so important we should have a very pure and sincere faith. And also, in order to have a sincere and pure faith to Buddha, we must know what does mean Buddha and Sangha and Dharma. So in order to know the three jewels, and first we have to know the nature of the minds. We have to know all the negative emotion is within me, but it is not really nature of mind. It's not like the goal is very pure. If somebody put some color on the gold, but the gold color change, but it changed very short time. But the nature of the gold is very pure, yellow or maybe white. So our nature of the mind is the nature of mind is very pure, but somehow all the negative emotion and manipulate, or is made, the nature of mind is kind of an impurity. So, in order to know the fully Buddha and Three Sangha, the first we have to know, oh yes, if I practice compassion, the anger is going to reduce. If I practice, passion, anger is going to reduce. If I practice the emptiness, then finally I can eliminate the ignorance. Then one day I will be Buddha. The Buddha Shakyamuni, he is Buddha because through practice, he already eliminated all the negative emotion, all the defilements. So it is so important to, have a pure and stable faith. So there are three different types of faith. What is the, what will be the second one? Faith, then?
Self-respect, consciousness.
Yes, self-respect or consciousness, sense of shame. So Tibetan we say mocha is shame, sheba means understand the shame. So self-respect is very short word, right? So here what is the difference between self-respect and a regard for consequences? I don't think this is the correct way to say. So here I think, okay, first, what does mean self-respect? Self-respect, consciousness, sense of shame. So, what does mean shame? We usually say, oh, the person is shameless. We say the person is shameless. I feel so shame. So, what do you think about the shameless or shame? I'm very shameful. Here I think they have a better, maybe not. Self-respect and regard for consequences.
There's the third one. Regards of consequence are the third one.
But that doesn't mean the same as decorum.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to place the speaker. Yeah.
Okay. So, look at, if somebody going to tell me, Geshe, you should have a, this kind of, for example, this is a wine. You should drink the wine. So I'm going to say, no, I'm not going to drink the wine. There's a true reason. One, I think, oh, if I drink the wine, the consequence is really bad for me. I must understand the law, the cause and condition is really bad for me. Then I reject to drink the wine. Is one, make a kind of, like a, I don't know how to say it, because this, these words doesn't make sense. Shameless. The second one, I don't want to drink the wine, the alcohol, because if I drink this one, and other people are going to say so many bad things about me. Then I reject to drink. Also, okay, I'm not going to drink this one because I already took a vows, from certain master, certain teacher. There's a true reason. One, you put yourself as a reason. Second, you should put other people or other vow as a reason to reject drinking wine or reject doing the bad thing. So in Tibetan, the word is very, very clear, mocha sheba, and you must know the shameful. The second one, you must know shameless. Second, he said, I'm not sure what he said.
Decorum means the kind of right way to behave.
The right way to behave, yeah.
Yeah, that's what decorum means.
Decorum.
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 as it written here, means,
Yep.
you know, you do something with decorum in the right way, the
Right.
way this.
Geshe-la is trying to explain the second point, which is the self-respect,
Censorship. Yeah.
conscientiousness, and sense of shame.
Yeah.
All three of them, when they add together, is what Geshe-la has described. That's why English has no one word.
Yeah, there's no.
It's three parts of it
Yeah.
combined.
Yeah,
is
yeah.
what
They
it
all mean
says.
the same kind
But
of, yeah,
if
they're
you-
all combined.
Combined.
Yeah, if you
concept.
come together, we say you must reject the bad action. You yourself put as a reason.
That's why self-respect is the first thing.
Yeah.
And then the third one is sense of shame. That will become, because when you feel ashamed when you have contact with another party, then you feel ashamed. Or else if you all by yourself, you won't feel shame. So the
Oh, yeah.
reasons of outside is coming in.
You are right, because in generally when we say shame is different.
Yes.
If I do myself alone in nobody around here, I don't feel shame. So it's in generally.
Yep.
But in
Someone else's.
the religious way, that's why, I don't put myself as a reason I did the bad action. That's mean I'm shameless myself. I don't care other people know or no.
Right.
Yeah, generally people say, oh, shameless, and the second one, what's called decorum, regret of the. Regret is, or for consequences, not really make sense here.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
those two words don't
I think
match.
the decorum is the right action. The number third, non-attachment. So if you always really, self-respect, it's so important to be self-respect. I really don't care what other people are going to say. I really don't care, it is right and wrong. You must respect yourself. The action must be good. It's self-respect. The second is I mentioned, you must reject the bad action, put other people or other vows as a reason. Number 4, the non-attachment. Also, you will know the non-attachment, non-attachment. So even though when you practice Dharma, you should practice the Dharma with a non-attachment. Because if you have very strong attachment towards your practice, this means the practice is not so pure. It's kind of unconditioned practice. In non-attachment is attachment, non-attachment is totally two opposite mental factors. The number 5, the non-aggression, equanimity, lack of hatred.
Geshe-la,
Yeah.
sorry, is the question. Any example of the non-attachment to your practice?
Matcha, yeah. For example, even though Chandrakirti said, you shouldn't have any attachment towards your right view. Your right view. Even though you know this is the right view, you shouldn't have an attachment towards the right view. That means, for example, when you meet a very, very bad kind of, the very critical person on the road, very critical, physical or very critical person, the person needs a food. At that moment, if you give us just piece of food, it's kind of, you practice giving as a non-attachment. You don't have any kind of expectation. You just give it. This kind of, non-attachment practice of giving. And when after, few months or if you understand the emptiness, you shouldn't have a really sense of ego. I know it. You shouldn't have a sense of ego. You shouldn't have a kind of attached towards the right view. You just look at the reality. You look at the the nature of the phenomena. Just look at it. You shouldn't attach. Also, there's a little difference between attachment and desire. within the desire there are two types. One is positive, one is negative. We should have the pure or strong desire for achieving Buddhahood, but we shouldn't have an attachment achieving Buddhahood. When you say attachment is kind of, your mind is always stick the kind of the wanting thing. If you don't achieve, if you're not going to achieve, then you feel upset, attached. So desire is not like that, because everybody wish to have a happy for all sentient beings. We have a very strong desire for having happiness for all sentient beings, even though this is kind of desire, not really attachment. Attachment always look like in that kind of condition.
Okay, like what you have just said, if you have attachment means if you don't achieve it, you'll be upset.
Yeah.
So anything that you do, and if the negative or the opposite, it doesn't go your way, you'll feel upset, then that means that is with attachment. Can it be simplified like that for now?
Yeah.
I think it's easier for basic people like me to understand what a non-attachment means, if it can be accepted in that way. Means if you have a desire towards some things and it doesn't come your way, you feel upset, then that is with attachment. If you don't feel upset with that, then that is without attachment. Can I say that?
Not really. Because the desire, I said the two types of desire.
Yeah.
Even though the Buddha Shakyamuni, he has like kind of wishing and desire for all sentient beings achieving Buddhahood.
So rephrase that. If I have a positive desire towards something and it doesn't come my way, or it doesn't turn out the way I want it, and I feel okay with it, then I do not have attachment. But if I do have upset feelings, mean I have an attachment. So I use that as a small little guide to check every time, do I have attachment? So if I wanted something in a positive way, and if that thing doesn't happen, I won't feel upset, means I do not have attachment. At least the gross level attachment is not there.
Yeah,
I think that's good for now as a basic practitioner. Don't want to attach too far.
Yeah, that's when if you don't get what you really want, if you feel upset, little bit unhappy, that's mean that mixing some attachment.
Right.
Attachment. So the non-attachment. So number 5, non-aggression or equanimity, lack of hatred. I think lack of hatred is good. So, non-aggression, what does it mean? I really don't know, non-aggression. Huh?
If you're aggressive, you're very harsh.
Yeah, so you shouldn't be really aggressive.
Yeah, you should be aggressive.
You are not, then equanimity is very like a kind of neutral, right? So, these are the which is we have to practice, the faith, sense of shame. If you always have a sense of shame, then you find it not easy to have a bad action. If somebody feel I want to steal something, if you have a sense of shame, so you're not going to steal. So also within the society, if you have a real sense of shame, then we have a less, I think, the violence. Yeah, the number 5 is non-aggression, equanimity, lack of hatred. So also, so most people, everybody, we always have a hatred towards someone. If you have always hatred to someone, for you, if somebody gets something, then you feel you are not happy. And somebody, criticizes the person which is you really hate, and you feel happy. So even though when we have a kind of little argument or little problem between friends or family and co-worker, you shouldn't hate the person from your heart. Even if you someone really hate it from your heart, then there's no way you can develop the great compassion the great compassion must, cover all sentient beings. Hatred. The number 6 is a non-bewilderment. Bewilderment is kind of non-ignorance, right? Not confusion, yeah. Confusion, not confusion. So also, the non-confusion is so important, because when we practice, when we involve with any activities, many times we have a lot of confusion. When we have a confusion, for us so difficult to make it, the pure and the right decision. So all of them is kind of the positive and mental factor, also the virtuous mental factor. The number 8 at plan C. So based on the English term, the plan C mean, what does mean plan C? So diligent. Number 7 is a diligent effort. Number 7 is diligent effort. Therefore, we have to distinguish between effort and diligence effort.
Shiva is 2 words.
Yeah, it's two words. Diligence.
And then the other one is effort.
Effort.
So diligence, I interpret as
Correct.
hardworking
Yeah.
and with
Yeah.
intelligence.
Yeah. So diligence and effort. And generally, as a Buddhist tradition, the effort always be positive. Always be positive. Generally, effort, we can have a really strong effort towards, bad action. We have a very strong effort towards the good action. Generally, when we say effort, diligence, effort, kind of more like we should put effort towards the positive actions, good actions. Also, before I move to number 8, so we can do another, kind of debate. So what is the differences between faith and like? I like him, I have a faith towards him, right? Like and faith. No difference? Lots of difference, yes. Okay, that's good. So actually there are 4 possibilities between faith and like. So everybody like to eat good food. This is like, not really faith. There's a faith which is not really kind of like. Anything?
If
Do you
something that
think?
you have faith but you don't like, you
Yeah.
can't,
You
right?
have faith, but you might not like.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, in a negative way.
In a negative way.
Yeah, I have faith that it would occur, but
But
I
you
don't
don't
like the
like
outcome.
it. You don't like the outcome.
So I mentioned,
Very different.
the mind which can understand the samsara is the nature of the samsara is the suffering. We call this also faith. It's not really like a kind of sense of liking. No, like. And also, you have a really sense of like towards Buddha or Dharma or Sangha or your Guru. Also, it's a faith. Also, in a sense of like. So there's another is not a like.
The fourth one, not like and not faith. Do you have something that is you don't like and you don't have faith?
No sense of no. If you
Because
have a,
4 possibility,
Mhm.
the last one it has to be non-like and non-faith.
yeah, there
right?
are a lot of
Can you give an example?
like non-like
And non-faith.
in the based on like mind and mental factor in generally.
Mind, mental factor.
Oh yeah, ignorance is not really like sense of liking. It's not really like a fact. And there's so many.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
And diligence, effort.
Diligent and
Diligence and effort is true, but
yeah, it's two things combined.
in diligence, effort, not necessarily like a virtues, right?
Yeah.
Because somebody have a very diligent effort for making like a weapon, making kind of atom bomb, and killing someone. They have very diligent effort, but there's not really, the
No
virtues
virtues.
is kind of non-virtues. So I think we have to add positive effort or positive diligence effort. Okay. The number 8, the plan C. So, any idea what does mean plan C?
Yes.
Yes.
Kind of flexible.
Yeah.
It's
It's
kind
like
of, kind of flexible.
it's like
You can change. It's a bit like non-attachment, I suppose. in a way.
or it could be
You
for your
kind of-
goodness, I will
yeah.
suit you for your goodness, or I will abide, or I will
You kind of
follow,
fit it, yeah.
or
Fit it.
go your ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think plan C is kind of,
Accommodating.
Accommodating.
yeah, plan C is the very flexibility,
Yeah.
very flexibility. So we have a two types of plan C.
Or
The physical plan C and mental plan C. So we're talking about the single pointed meditation. After that, insight
It's a full meditation.
meditation. So this time, we everybody we haven't seen someone. The person is flying from here to there without, with the wings. So we believe in the past, the practitioner who reach a high level of practice, or he or she can fly from here to there. So, in the practical way, how it's possible? I can fly from here to there without wing, without using other equipment. So this is question. The answer must be, the answer will be, I said, so we have a gross level of body. It's very heavy. If you able to use the subtle level of body, which is your body, but it's the subtle level of body is very light. So that's why you can fly from here to there, and you can have a, the very, what is the English term? This one, plan C. So you have a plan C body, you have a plan C mind. The plan C body means very light. Very light. Because that moment you are not really, using the gross level of body. You are using the physical, subtle level of body. The plan C mind means you can focus any chosen object. Chosen object.
Chosen object.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not only that, you can focus on a chosen object for 4 hours, 12 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours continuously. That's means your mind is very flexible. So in order to have a physical, plan C body and plan C mind, first you have to reach the single pointed meditation. Then there's an order, first you have a physical kind of pleasant. Second, then you have first you have a mental pleasant feeling. Then second, you have a physical pleasant feeling. When the physical, pleasant became more subtle and subtle, when you are able to focus on your chosen object continuously, then you're going to have a plan C body and plan C mind. First, you should have a plan C mind. Then second, you have a plan C body. So that's why you can see in the ancient time, in the painting, you can see many kind of people flying here and there. I didn't see someone flying from here to there, but I saw someone is kind of, what do you call that? Going up?
Levit.
Levitt. So even though I saw a few, monks, not only monks, I saw some lay person can lift up quite baby. I think, of course they can lift up quite high, but I saw almost 20 feet. And the person said, so, going up is very easy, but going down is so difficult. That's why they put very thick matters, like shoulder for to hurt their body.
Can you?
How would I live up?
Do you practice that? Do you yourself practice this?
Not much, because one of the high master said, it's nothing special. Even if you fly for 100 miles, it doesn't make any difference for you. You are still sentient beings. And also, Chandra Dharmakirti said, somebody says, oh, he has a great ability, he or she can see maybe 100 miles from here. Then Chandrakirti said, it's nothing special, because the vulture can see 100 miles from here to there. That is, yeah. Yes or no?
Coming back to this,
Mm-hmm.
It's always sort of, perhaps it's a topic for tomorrow's basic Buddhism.
Mm-hmm.
We always have these special things, and then it's from a monk as well, and it's practitioner, and it's also part of Buddha's teaching. And yet you have so many great scholars and masters tell you to disregard them.
Mm-hmm.
What's the reason of telling you something fantastic, sounds to us is fantastic, and again tell you, no, you don't care about this. Why? Perhaps this is a topic for tomorrow. Today is mind and mental factor, but it's a question that we generally have. Sorry, I had. And you can explain today or tomorrow.
For example, there is a motivation. Some master has a really good motivation. I want to bring them into like a practice Buddha Dharma. In order to bring them for practicing Buddha Dharma, first they have to tell very interesting kind of story, and also very kind of
Handsome and girls.
yeah. Then secondly, they thought, oh, it's nice and calm. And then finally, they teach how to practice. Even though in the Buddha said, if you want to gather many people, so first you have to give, kind of good gift to someone and make them friends. Second, you must speak very nicely, let them very happy. And finally, gradually you can speak Dharma. You shouldn't teach someone Dharma directly. That is so difficult. But the flying thing is come after the practice. They are not the main practice, not important one. It's come up with practice. Okay, so we move next one, Shinshan. The number 9 is consciousness, right? Conscientiousness, yes, conscientiousness is also very important practice. So we always, must conscious what you are doing, what you do, what you think, what you eat, So that's why, So Buddha said, the monk always have to be, very conscious, right? Conscientious. Yeah, conscientious. Must be. For example, if I forget in a few moments I'm a monk, then for me very easy to have a really
Misconduct.
negative action, misconduct. So everybody, if you always conscious, you always aware, I'm a human being, I have a very kind of special kind of life. I shouldn't waste. If you have this kind of the awareness always with you, then you're never ever going to waste your time.
Kishila, this conscientiousness and consciousness are different.
Yeah.
This one is like moral or ethical.
Yeah, doing the right
Yeah.
thing.
That's mean as a consciousness mean you always be moral. You always be, you always act perfectly.
Right.
That in order to act perfectly, in order to have a right action, first you always have to conscious yourself
Your
who you
consciousness,
are.
awareness must
Yeah.
be there.
Yeah.
Aware of self-awareness must be there.
No self-awareness, not self-awareness. For example, as a monk and nun, they took a vows. So they have a rule and regulation. Rule and regulation. They always, aware. They always conscious
Conscious about the code of conduct.
conduct. Then they're not going to, act. They're not going to have a kind of immoral things. So consciousness. Conscientiousness, yeah. The number 10 equanimity. So equanimity between whom? My friends and relative, or my dear one, my close one. You shouldn't have a really sense of attachment with your close one. You shouldn't have a kind of hatred and anger towards your enemy. You shouldn't have, or you should have an equanimity, sense of equanimity. When you have so when you practice compassion, first you should develop equanimity towards all sentient beings. Before you practice, equanimity for all sentient beings, first you should have a sense of equanimity with your enemy and your close one. For us, sometimes we think it's so difficult to have a sense of equanimity all sentient beings. Also, we think it's so difficult to have a sense of great compassion all sentient beings. But if you count, whole day, how many enemies do you have? We really don't have a lot of, very few. Maybe some of you, doesn't have any enemy. First, if you should develop sense of compassion with everybody, then you thought, oh, what about my enemy? Then first you have to count who is my enemy, how many enemy I have. And finally you can find maybe one or two, maybe not. When you notice, oh, he is kind of my enemy, she is kind of my disliked person, then you need to think why I really don't like the person, why. And you can find a very small reason, not really big one. The big one maybe, if somebody killed your dear one, it's kind of that so difficult to have forgiveness. But you will think, yes, I know, the person killed my dear one, the person killed my parents, but it's already finished. He killed, my parents gone, but I hold the person as my enemy. That's mean, the first, it makes you unhappy. And secondly, that you will have a more, kind of argument, more fighting with the person who killed your dear one. Then you can see there's not really kind of good reason to hold someone is my enemy, someone I dislike. And also, not only that, look at, it's so nice, Chandrakirti, he said, when you really have an angry to someone who you are really angry towards, the person or anything else, and of course we say, yes, the person. Then he said, if somebody hit you by stick, by stick or by some kind of weapon, who you really going to be angry? The stick or the person? Or the weapon or the person? Of course, we're not going to have an angry with the weapon and person, because the weapon and person is just very neutral. Of course, we have an angry to the person. Why? The person is the main one, principal one?
Chief.
Chief. Person is chief. Then look at, When you have a argument with someone, the person look like a weapon or stick. The cheap one is like a negative emotion, anger and attachment, desire. So let's say if you really going to be angry, you should have an angry towards the negative emotion, not the person. They say you shouldn't lose sense of compassion for anybody. Because I know they harm you in the short moment, but they are so kind, so important for you many lives. She's saying if you can, you should cut one finger in order to save 4 fingers. So, the person did very bad thing for a short time. But many lifetime, the person did, really good thing for us. So, that's why the Buddha teaching is the kind of non-violence teaching. Because if you have a sense of hate to someone, that means you have kind of violence in deep down. When you have a chance, when you have when you have a time or chance, then you're going to harm the person. And the deep down you see holding kind of the violence action. So the developing equanimity is also very important. I said first you should have equanimity with your friends and brother, sister, and second you should have an sense of equanimity for your enemies. And finally you can have a sense of equanimity for all sentient beings. As a Buddhist, we shouldn't have a kind of person which is we consider he is my enemy, she is my enemy. Then you have non-shameful. Number 11, right?
Non-harmful.
Non-harmful, sorry, so non-harmful. Harmfulness, noun, right? Non-harmfulness. So here in His Holiness Dalai Lama said, if you don't kill someone, even though you don't hit to someone, if you still hold someone is kind of my enemy, you still you are not really you still a harmful person. Because if you hold someone is my enemy, somebody might dislike, that means you're doing kind of the harm for yourself. Non-harmfulness. We shouldn't harm anybody. Especially, if you consider I'm a Mahayana practitioner. If you consider yourself I'm follower of Mahayana Buddhist, you shouldn't have a kind of harmful action, harmfulness.
Harmful thoughts.
Yeah, thoughts, action. Yeah, number 11.
So Geshe-la,
Yes.
these 11 virtuous mental factors, is it, what is the relevance of these 11? Is it, are they intrinsic, or rephrase it, or are these things we are born with it, but we need to cultivate it, or something that we don't have, but we try to have?
I think faith is the different. Otherwise, I think all the the virtues we had innately.
We have?
It's born with us. Born with us. Yeah, less or more.
Right.
Somebody has a more, somebody has a less.
Right.
The faith, I think we have to develop. And somebody doesn't have any faith. Somebody can have a new life, new faith, but kind of sense of shame, regret for consequences. Is I think we born with us.
Right.
We born all of them with us. But we have to develop furthermore.
So, can I ask a question?
Mhm.
What is the purpose of knowing this? What is the purpose of knowing these mental factors?
Look at it. So what is the the purpose of practicing Buddha Dharma? What is the purpose of be Buddhist? So we becoming rich, rich person, becoming famous person, they are not the purpose of practicing Dharma, right? Yes, somebody have a motivation, I want to be scholar, that I will become famous, but these are not the purpose of practicing Dharma.
But sometimes I feel like I want to earn a lot of money so that I can do a lot of sevas.
Sorry?
Sometimes, a lot of times I feel like I want to earn a lot of money so that I can do so many good things, sponsor so many children.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I do have kind of feelings. I want to be very rich so that I can do so many good things.
Mm-hmm.
So, is that practicing Dharma or is not practicing Dharma?
This is kind of practicing Dharma, but this is not the purpose of Dharma. Just making a lot of money, helping others is not just the final purpose, the final destination.
So that desire, the desire of wanting to be rich, so that mind, the mental factor, fall into all these 11 factors, isn't it? Because I want to be rich, then I can help, so that is a faith. Because I want to help, so I do have respects of others, myself, self-respect, that I can help others. And it's also a decorum. And I do not think about any returns to myself, so it is non-attachment. It's equanimity, because I believe everybody has the equal chance of having things. So it is also equanimity, it's non-aggressive action. So it fits into all these 11 mental factors, right?
Yeah. So the motivation must be included into the 5 object determining mental factors. The first one, interest,
okay.
And
The
decision, interest, conviction.
Right.
Not include the next element.
Okay, so it's not in the 11.
11, no. And also, it is not necessary all the virtues mental factor must include 11. I think because we have 2 different kind of the tradition. One we call the Abhidharma. The second one I don't know how to call it in English. Abhidharma. So according to Abhidharma, here look at that. According to Mahayana Abhidharma, we have 11 virtuous mental factors. But according to Theravada Abhidharma, there are more. I think 7. Look at the number is very big different. So 10 Bhumika. That means the
52. Theravada Abhidharma have 52.
Yeah. Theravada.
Yeah. At page 4, first sentence, it says, within the Theravada traditions, Abhidharma Sangara enumerates the 52 mental factors listed.
The 52 number is same, but look at the several factors are 7 universal mental factors. We have a 5.
Yeah.
The next one we have a 5, there's a 6. Look, the 14 unwholesome mental factors.
Right.
Then 25 beautiful mental factors.
Right.
So I really don't know, why the number is differences.
It's the category, how you categorize that is different.
Yeah. The beautiful
Malaya more unwholesome.
Bhikshu Buddhas. Yeah. So the number, yeah.
Then 14. Mahayana.
Yeah. So now we are just studying about the
26.
Correct.
Yeah.
So different type of mental factor, okay.
Yeah. So number 11 is non-harmfulness.
Right.
So just we finish 11 mental factor, virtuous mental factors. The next one very easy. The 6 root unwholesome factors. First is attachment and anger, ignorance, pride, or consist, doubt, wrong view. The order must be the first ignorance, then attachment, then anger, and after attachment, pride, consist, after attachment, and the doubt, the wrong view. It's very easy to understand like docha, anger, and difference between anger and hatred, and ignorance, and I think ignorance is I think here. ignorance and you mentioned which one? You mentioned very similar with ignorance. Ignorance and
Confusion.
no. So ignorance here doesn't mean you look like know nothingness, not like this, know nothingness. Ignorance doesn't mean you
Don't
know nothingness.
Oh.
Ignorance, we have two types of ignorance. So this we can explain in the next class. Ignorance and pride, doubt, and wrong view. I think historians mentioned very carefully all the time. So something we consider as a Buddhist, we consider this is the wrong view, but this is the right view for other tradition. Something is in the wrong view based on other tradition, then may be the right view for us. The wrong view, the right view is based on how you believe. How
you believe? Wrong is how you believe. For example, if I do not believe in karma, and that is my view, I say karma, I don't believe in it, that is wrong, then that is a wrong view itself, right?
Mhm. So, for example, as a Buddhist, we believe in three jewels. Somebody said, "Oh, so three jewels are not exist, no more, not exist." So, as a Buddhist, we say, "Oh, you got wrong view.
Okay.
You got wrong view." Also, we believe in like a karmic action, previous life. So, this is for us the right view. As a, like Christianity, they say, "Oh, if somebody believe in the kind of previous life, it's kind of the wrong view based on their tradition."
So does the unwholesome factor over here, the wrong view, refer to the Buddhist
Yeah,
correct
best.
view and wrong view?
Oh yeah. Look at this. The wrong view, we have a four. Extreme view. View of superiority. View that regard, unsatisfactory moral and spiritual or discipline as supreme. The number four one, the mistaken view. The wrong view, we have a four. Extreme view, view of superiority, view that regard, unsatisfactory men and moral and spiritual discipline as superior. For example, as a Hindu tradition, they have somebody have to satisfy their life in the fire. This is called, according to Hindu tradition, this is the kind of the right view.
Right.
So based on our Buddhism, we say this is the wrong view. And also, according to Hindu tradition, they have to respect to the cow. So this is kind of superior, the moral, based on Hindu tradition. As a Buddhist, we say this is a wrong view and mistaken view. So when we say wrong view, there are four different wrong view. Extreme view, also when we say extreme, for example, somebody said this is permanent, also extreme, because it leans to something. If somebody says it's not existent phenomena, also extreme. So they said the middle view. We must say yes, this exists. We reject one extreme. Still it is existent phenomena, but it's not permanent. Also we reject another extreme. So we look in the thing is existent phenomena as well as impermanent. So we just go with the middle way. So the middle way is not only middle way, so we have a term like middle way. I think when we say the middle is so important for us, everybody. Of course we have to eat food. You shouldn't eat very expensive, very luxury food, not really kind of our food. We just eat the right one. Even though we have to wear clothes. Shouldn't wear very expensive clothes, shouldn't wear very cheap one. Just wear kind of the middle one. And also as a human being, we have to live in the society. You should speak kind of the middle way. If you speak too much, people don't like you. If you don't speak anything, people don't like you. You must
Moderate.
moderate. Yeah, and also look at eating. It's very interesting. So everybody have to do a lot of exercise because we gain weight,
Weight.
we got a lot of fat,
Fat accumulated.
because we eat a lot of good food.
Fine
Not
food.
necessarily good.
Not necessarily good. That's why one way we are eating too much, too many different variety. Another way we got so many problems. If you eat in kind of the middle one, moderate one, not much, not less, the right amount, then you don't have to worry about this thing, Okay, so we just stop here.
3 minutes.
Any question? Yeah, and tomorrow, I know, so we have a class about the basic Buddhism. Tomorrow I will explain a little bit the technique of meditation, and as well I will explain the basic, the foundation of Buddhism. And all the time, if you think, oh, this is the right, you just accept. Something you think it doesn't make sense, it is not correct, you just reject and just speak out. Speak out is so important,
Voice out, speak out.
The voice, like,
Express yourself.
yeah. So anyway, so I will stop even though we have 2 minutes.
Thank you, teachers, for the wonderful sessions.